Spiritual activations. I
Yeah.
think you've definitely gotten some questions over the past, week or so, and through our just having certain conversations. I think we fell on this topic quite naturally because people are wondering, what are spiritual activations? Why is it important to them? All of the above. So I can't wait to talk about this today because this is what we do, right? We do activations. We help people find their purpose, and at the same time, we're finding our purpose. So
Yes.
yeah.
That is so true. And you're right about I've had a lot of people be like, what's a spiritual activation? How do you do a spiritual activation? Like, how do I get my gifts to grow? And so I see a lot. I was checking out that beautiful video you sent me yesterday. And I'm looking at all these amazing different spiritual practitioners and wellness, mindfulness, practitioners with a variety and vast methodologies. But one of the things I often do not see is spiritual activations. So I think that's why this is really important. And considering we were trained under the spiritual activator himself, Oliver Nino, um, I guess we are his gift that keeps on giving, as with the rest of our soul sisters and brothers who have done Geo Love. So not only did we learn how to become master energy healers, we also learned how to activate people's spiritual gifts. So that's what we're going to chat about. Woohoo! Even if you already know you have gifts, or you think, or you have an inkling, this is a video for you. And if you do and you just want to expand them, this is the video for you. And I'm sure by the time we're done here, you will gain some clarity, some insight, and maybe some inspiration on, moving forward and leaning into all that you are divinely meant to be.
Yes. Oh, divine timing.
Woohoo!
All
Mm-hmm.
right. So I guess we should start with the most pressing question is why? Why do we even need spiritual activation? Why is it important? Why, if this has even come to your awareness, why, yeah, why,
Why?
Brandy? Let us know why.
Why would you want to experience or receive spiritual activations? I think that's a beautiful question. And I want to, before I answer that, just an amazing reminder that this is divine timing. Like, if you found our video, if you're here listening to us, if you connect with us on any level, know that this is meant for you in some way, shape, or form, right? Whether if you're ready to dive all in today or you just want to dip your toe in the water, who knows? And even if you've ever connected with Ashley and I, we may have inadvertently sparked some of your spiritual gifts because we function as natural amplifiers. And we often do that based on our own natural gifts. So, having said that, why would you want a spiritual activation? And I think the root of it is a spiritual activation helps you expand all that you already are, that what you were divinely meant to be and fulfill. We are all unique. We all have a mission and purpose in this life. And if you look at some of my other videos, and Ashley and I will talk about purpose as this big umbrella term. But understanding under that umbrella or the foundation of that is really activating your intuitive gifts, expanding them. They all exist, right? Everyone has them. It's just a matter of waking them up, activating the DNA in your body that's long been dormant. And we could go on a whole tangent about that. Star seeds and galactic federations and all of this fun stuff. But I think for this video, we're just going to keep it right here that you activate your spiritual gifts and you activate the dormant DNA in your body to really become all that you are, all that you're meant to be. And sometimes those people who feel that they've had gifts, I know an individual in particular who is very close to me and that I love her very much, who has always been very gifted. She's an amazing seer, like a medium, but a seer in that context where she really sees them. Where in my medium work, I don't necessarily see them. It's more of like a knowing and what have you. But she always runs from those gifts. And I think this year it's my personal mission to kind of help her work with me so we can make her feel more comfortable in those gifts. So, and I know like people would do anything to have that gift. People that are, don't think that their gifts are a burden, or that they've learned to love them and embrace those fractals and parts of themselves. But that is, I think, in essence, the root of why you want to get a spiritual activation. Why not? Number one. Why not? Just like, why not you? Because you deserve it. They're important. And also, as Oliver always says, heal yourself, heal others, heal the world. Many of you watching this video know that there has to be something more to this life. There has to be something greater than where you are right now. This cannot be all that there is. And I know for myself, and Ashley, we've talked about this time and time again. When we received our first spiritual activation, I had no clue what that was or what that meant. But I know that it changed my life. I didn't know what I needed until I found it, right? This reawakening, re-remembering, this is your time to reawaken, to re-remember. That's why babies are born. Typically, the indigo children, starseed children, will say there are little exceptions from the rule. But in general, you have to take time to re-remember all that you are in this incarnation and in any of the others before. So think of that activation as that reawakening, that re-remembering, connecting yourself to all the lessons that you've learned, to your ancestors, to your wisdom, to your power, to your passion, to your purpose. Like, holy shit, who doesn't want that? You know what I mean? So it's not like this some woo-woo, and I know for some it sounds woo-woo. As a social scientist, I used to be like, y'all bugging. No, miss me with that. There's no data or no science. I don't want to know about it, right? But on that note, just for shits and giggles, because I said that, this is science for you in terms of spiritual activations and using sacred geometry and healing and gifts. This right here is an aura photo. You can see it's all rainbow. That's me. Ashley and I went to Sedona, right? I don't know if you can see it great, but see, look, there's Ashley's. Now, I just so happened to ask her, the lady who was doing the auric photos, because my mentor prompted me. He said, hey, ask her if you can go and cleanse your energy and amp up your energy and see what happens, to see if it changes. I asked her, she said to me, yeah, I don't know why, because it never changes, but sure. So we have it done. This was my first photo. I took 7 minutes outside, 7 minutes, using sacred geometry, using unconditional love, using our Geo Love first training. Now, mind you, there's 3. Well, now there's 4, but 3. And 7 minutes. Retook the photo. This is the photo. There's far more green, which is the natural energy color of healing. There's the gold and orange that amplifies. So before, and after. Before, after. That's science for you. And yes, some can debate about, scientific stuff behind auric photos. I'm not here to debate that either for or against. What I'm saying is, when I saw that and I understood what 7 minutes of our energetic practices and a spiritual activation, because at this point, that was what, Geo2, right, Ash? So I used the skills that I learned in Geo1, but by this time I had already had, 3 activations, because we had a pre-activation, the activation in Geo1, and then the spiritual activation in Geo2, correct? Yeah. 3 spiritual activations. So by the third one, I could shift my auric field in 7 minutes, where I could then walk into a room in a space and heal it in that moment. Doesn't matter who you were, cleanse it, shift your energy, maybe make your day a little bit better, maybe make tomorrow a little bit better for you. Literally 7 minutes. So that's what I'm saying. That's why you want to experience what a spiritual activation is. That's why you want to lean into your purpose work, your mission, your life, your gifts, become more grounded, more rooted. And that is part of your journey to wholeness. And that's what I have found. And I'll let Ashley continue her why, because I think that's what we have found together.
Well, that's a mic drop right there, Brandy. I think you just kind of like encompassed it all in that answer. It was so beautifully stated. And I'm just so blessed to be on this journey with you because, I mean, we're figuring it out as we go.
Yes.
So we welcome you to come on this journey with us because we're just helping each other get through this amazing just opportunity to continue to expand, you know. So why a spiritual activation? I mean, we all have spiritual gifts, like you said. And I think we enter in the realm, like you said, also of divine destiny, why we're here. There's some of us that have always questioned that throughout our lives, you know, and a spiritual activation is really an opportunity to open these beautiful divine pathways to release your innate divinity and your unique, most beautiful ways. I mean, we can all tap into this. We all have, you know, the ability. We were all born and gifted with a unique blend of awakened gifts. And throughout our lives, you know, we have this human story that comes up and we have to live through it. And, you know, we consistently ask, why are we going through these things? And I mean, for us, that spiritual activation has opened that pathway to better understanding, to surrender to a plan that's far greater. And it's such a relief, I feel, when you start to receive this kind of clarity that comes through as coincidence or a feeling or just a nudge, however, you know, you receive energy and intuition. And it's just a beautiful unfolding each activation, as all activations happen in divine time and opens up what needs to be opened, you know, right for you where you are on your spiritual journey, which I think is really, really important because, you know, we're only able to handle certain things at, you know, divine knows, right? God knows. Right. So we will be, you know, expanded to that point so we can gather more understanding and then are better able to take action around these lessons and better understanding and things that come up in our lives that we're wondering, why am I cycling through this over and over again? And as you activate, it provides more clarity. Then you're able to act on that clarity. And the feeling is just like fulfillment, right? I'm on my divine path. I am aligned with destiny, with oneness, with wisdom, you know, with spiritual power, right? And yeah, that would be why for me is there's always been a greater purpose. I feel like I was just born in that wisdom. So so grateful for Oliver for introducing me to this work and for the opportunity to really be a vessel to expand this knowledge for people, because it can help a lot in so many different ways to deal with life and life's challenges. And then it beautifully shifts to, instead of a challenge, or the language shifts to just an opportunity to grow and, you know, evolve spiritually. So,
Yes. And you said something very important, that you can be exactly where you are. You don't have to have your life figured out. You don't have to have things in perfect alignment. It is still the perfect time for you to activate your spiritual gifts. And maybe everything has kind of fallen apart, just so that way you can rebuild from a fresh foundation. And also, I heard you say about people who've never maybe felt like they belonged, right? Or that they knew they were built for something different. They just didn't know what it was. And I think that's really important, right? Many of us have felt like we've never belonged, or like the odd one, or no one could understand us, or we were too much, or not enough, or, the black sheep in the family, or people laugh at you. And no matter how much your accomplishment or education, they still somehow take you as a joke. Um, those are probably some of the most spiritually gifted people, and
this
just
is it.
waiting for that to expand and blossom and blow up. And I think what I would say from my perspective is that a lot of times those individuals are still operating just at a different frequency, and your light is so powerful for them, though they're kind of magnetized to it, it's almost intolerable. And that's why that's their reaction of trying to regain footing and make themselves comfortable, because you will shine naturally so bright and you don't even have to do anything. Many of you have people just come to you, they'll be drawn to you, they're just magnetized to you. Women are magnetic, men are electric, or masculine, feminine, however you want to put it. So just know that you don't have to have things all figured out. And you're probably one of the most gifted people. So
Hmm.
we just want to, witness you and share that, because I found that to be true even in my own experience.
Yes, yes. And I know we said earlier before we got on, it's funny how as we're growing up, people like us, we feel so isolated and alone. And then we find some work around energy, like spiritual activation or energy work. And then we find our tribe. We're like, oh, we're really not alone.
Right. Yes.
Like it's so just magic,
Yeah.
you can't, it's wonderful. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for your words, Brandy, because
You're welcome.
you provide so much clarity around these things, just telling your story and being authentic. And so I just wanted to highlight that. I think you're amazing.
Yeah. I know it's interesting, because I'm going to talk about the elephant that will show up that was in the room. Like when we transitioned from me to you, and you were just like acknowledging me, and I got like a little teary eyed and emotional for a few seconds. And I just was like, God, like, why am I so emotional right now? But I think because I truly believe in this, and it's that important to me, that I'm like, holy shit, this like makes me emotional. Like, see, even now I'm talking about it, I'm like, ooh, and clearly, we have the full moon yesterday, and nice, beautiful cycles in the planet. But I just think that when you see that, just know that's my soul just acknowledging, like, this changed my life. And is my life perfect right now? Hell no. We're still figuring things out every single day. But I know that I've been able to serve and help and heal and maybe even save some lives along the way in these short, 3-4 years. And that for me is priceless. That's my why for spiritual activation.
Yes, I
So
love that. So what is a spiritual activation? How does it even work? Right? Like, I know a lot of people out there are like, what? Come on, like what? I want to know what it is, right?
Mhm.
How does it work? What are kind of the steps that we go through? What does it feel like? How am I gonna feel after? All of those things. So I'll let you
I
go first.
Great question. I think everyone has a different experience. If I could be really transparent and honest, I think but that's because it's divinely your experience and it's meant for you that way. Some people, when you're going through a spiritual activation, will feel things. They will experience things. They will see things. They will know things. They will maybe hear things. They will um, just feel this overwhelming calm or peace.
Mm.
Um, should we tell them the story about one or two parts of our activations?
Well, I guess activation, um, what the steps that we go through, like what is it, is that we get into a state, right? Whether it would be through like a frequency music or guided meditation,
Yep.
you would drop into a state and we call that alpha state, right? You would drop into a
Mhm.
meditative state. And, each practitioner is different. I play music, solfeggio music, you know, so that really tells a story as the person is going through the healing. But it's usually really silent, like we don't really talk too much, if at all, right?
Mhm.
And then we go through these processes of layering sacred geometry techniques or shapes. And we go through this process, and it may take, anywhere from 20 minutes, depending on the person, up to 45 minutes to an hour. It varies. And like you say, every experience is different. So some people just might feel this beautiful sense of peace. I've had people fall asleep. I've had people like tell me all of these things that they experienced, whether it be sounds or seeing shapes or feeling energy going up and down their body. And then afterwards, they feel a different vibration or state of awareness because they've shifted in some kind of way, whatever it was. Either they got the rest that they needed, right? The mentally, right? Because they just were at peace. Or they, had sensations in their body that physically allowed them to elevate and they feel lighter, right? So it's very unique, like you said, but there's definitely steps to it. And we've gone through, like you said, Brandy, earlier, 3 certifications to really learn and understand, where the person is at the moment. We might have like a talk before to bring up an intention.
Yes.
We set, protection parameters, making sure, we're safe and protected throughout the process. So, it's unique, but then there's definitely some, procedures and things that we go through. So, the client is at the most, state of receiving, the healing and the highest good of all, whatever that may be, or the activation. So just want to stick that in there.
No, that's
Um,
actually perfect. And thank you, because I think that gave us a breadth and depth of understanding, knowing that, it's not hard work on your part. There's not always a lot of talking. Maybe after the fact, there'll be some channeling, or maybe messages came in the interim and share those with you. But the music, I use 1111 hertz for mine. And some I may not even do any music. Some you may hear me chanting and speaking in tongues. So it really the activation. Um, so yeah, it really just depends. But the essence of it is, our goal is to get you in a place that you're calm and that you're relaxed, that you honor yourself with the time uninterrupted for you. Even if you do get interrupted, it's okay. We allow that to be part of the practice. Guided meditation to start us, to bring us kind of back. And that's kind of like the fundamental elements, you know. And you may not see us doing a lot of things. Know the power of intention, setting that in advance or during and after, intention setting. You know, when you said boundaries, you know, we only practice from the space of love and light. And we put protective shields, you know, because we also want this to be as easy as it possibly can be for you as you're ascending, right? Energy, again, moves like the speed of light. The mind and the body play catch up. So no, sometimes you can say, hey, I want an 11, you know, out of a 1 to 20, or I want a 1, or I want 100. So the universe will give you whatever experience that you want. Ashley and I decided we were just going to go all in, you know, like 1,000 on a 1 to 10 scale.
Yeah, I mean, our experiences include having different visions. You know, I felt a lot in my body. I'm a feeler. So, and then I think I traveled back to, you know, times past, maybe an incarnation, but very ancient, very, very just multidimensional, just very, like I have a portal behind me because I am that's just this multidimensional being. And I've come to learn that about myself through spiritual activations, through healing with sacred geometry, studying spiritual books. And then now I'm really into Qigong, you know, just purifying my vessel so I can just receive more divine wisdom and be able to, you know, be in a state to share and to serve others. So, yes.
Yeah. For me, my solar plexus felt like it was just ripping apart. And when that was like during my first, it was after the pre-activation. And because I am a seer and a knower and a feeler, it kind of was like, so the first I got to see all of this golden symbols and sacred geometry coming towards me. And I'm like, what in the hell? I was so confused. But then I understood, and I hadn't even went yet to Colorado. So then I was like, oh, wow. So this is more of the sacred geometry that's coming up, and the power of golden energy or liquid gold energy. And when my solar plexus, because I had so much grief at that time for GO1, I was just buried in loss of person after person after person. Like my ex, you know, she fell in front of a train and got killed. My mom got killed. My niece, like it was just so much. And for a person who's so sensitive as me, like I just couldn't, you know, but it was amazing because that just ripped and expanded all of that off of me. And so that could or could not be an experience for you. You could maybe feel absolutely nothing. You could just feel this complete state of calm. But what that means is it's happening for you in the way that it's supposed to. Maybe you didn't need it to be so in your face. Maybe you need it very slow and subtle, and then little things will come up. I have a client who did her spiritual activation. Universe just pushed me to do that a few weeks ago. And she messaged me. She's like, hey, so in her activation, she's like, I just kept seeing all these different faces. I couldn't make them out. And I just kind of chuckled like, been there, did that. And then she had messaged me like a few days ago, and she's like, can you tell me if I'm dying or I'm going crazy? I can't remember exactly what she said. She's like, but I keep seeing these like shapes. She's like, I think it was, I don't know who she said, a family member or just a person and another one. And I'm like, oh, you're not crazy. And no, you're not dying. It's perfectly normal. Just write this all down. This is a part of the flow that you have to let allow happen. Even when things may be scary or if you're fearful, you're divinely protected. And if this is happening for your highest and greatest good, know that nothing is coming to hurt you. It is just expanding your understanding, expanding your awareness, and expanding your gifts. So for her, I have no doubt that just from one activation, she's already on her way. and she already had gifts. But, just didn't really understand them well. And I mean, Ashley and I, that's what we're here for, to help you understand them and process them and grow with them and just really help you unleash your power. Like, we are just the vessels of Source, God's light. And if through us, we can help you see all your power and maximize all that you are, that's like the greatest blessing in the planet. Because you're that powerful. Yeah, you, every single one of you are going to be somehow watching this video. Yes, you are that powerful, even if you don't know it.
Yes. And I love the way you said, this expansion of our being. So, whatever that fear is or whatever that emotion is that you're experiencing can be reconciled, could be dispelled, could be released. And I mean, spiritual activation is it's expansion, right? So you could, transform the way that this hurt or this pain or this fear or this, the grief, the, etc., the anger, the frustration can just, evaporate off of you like steam, right? And be transformed into something else to allow it to go on into its next, stage, right? Because energy just transfers into something else, right?
Right.
So yeah, thank you for sharing all of that, girl. That's amazing. And I think it's a perfect segue into, where this all happens, because I've had in-person healings. We've been activated in person. We've also done it in a virtual space. I mean, on Zoom or, even just through like text message, right? Like, okay, I'm starting the healing now, right? And then it starts and you listen to your favorite music and go through the process and, you connect after. So, I mean, this all happens in the ethers. It all happens because everything is energy, right? So with an intention that is set in a high frequency, and that's very important, right? It has to be set. And this is why Brandy and I, we work as healers to purify our vessel, to house higher and higher and higher and higher frequencies, so we can execute and hold space for that expansion. It's just, yeah, you take over.
Yes, no, the ethers. I mean, that's exactly. So even when Ash had talked about, it can happen even while you're sleeping. But it's not necessarily right here when, we use different planes or frequencies or levels beyond this earthly realm that we're able to harness and gain energy from and connect with to help activate, the ancient DNA and the meridian pathways and cleanse the chakras and rebalance them by functioning with not everyday energy, right? Ethereal energy, godly energy. And that allows us to then provide what is part of the spiritual activation, and which is also infused with unconditional love. Yeah, unconditional love. And you can be remote, you can be in person. It's not going to change the potency. It'll be just as potent whether you're virtual or here. We have clients in Australia, clients in Africa, clients, in Asia, all over the world. The potency is still the same, whether you're in person or at a distance. So keep that in mind, and your intentions are really going to impact, I think, the overall experience. And that may be a good video for us to do, like a little how to set intentions, because I know we're used to doing them, but I don't think many people are, or in the way that it would be like really powerful, you know, like the big, hairy,
Mhm.
audacious goal kind of thing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. Mhm.
something- this is a sidebar.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's the where.
I mean, I love that. I mean, when I first sat down and did Oliver's program, I knew I was in the right place, but I just didn't know what to expect.
Right.
Right.
No clue.
So yeah. So as you know, I went through the videos and I'm like, this is all like a reminder for me. Like I know this already. This is, you know, this is familiar. The energy is familiar. And I know, and I remember one of his videos going into intention setting, um, and all about energy, right? So it's, I think, just a beautiful testament, both of our stories, to really understand the expansiveness of energy, learning what it is. I mean, I think from a physics point of view, quantum physics point of view, you know, we understand scientifically that energy is everything. But then being intentional with moving it, because you know you house such just a beautiful auric field, and with an intention set in a high frequency, you can, you know, there's no limit to what you can do. And even if you're not aware of it, you are impacting such huge, you know, spaces, right? Different dimensions, lives, you know, um, realities, all
Yes.
of it. So it, through every stage of spiritual activation and understanding and spiritual evolution, you understand this more and more on a cellular level. And just being able to be, you know, walking in that frequency or affecting others just by your presence, just by the space that you occupy, you know, your frequency. So it's a blessing. It really is. Some are, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Some point, you know, you have to really dig deep at certain points in your spiritual journey, you know. I mean, just before we hopped on here, Brandy had to you know, take a just, you
Some deep
know, deep
breaths
breath, right?
and
It was
recalibrate
intense,
my energy. Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's a blessing as we, you know, deal with life, because it really adds to our spiritual evolution. It doesn't take away from it. It's a it's a purposeful irritation. That's how I'm
Yes.
gonna
A purposeful irritation.
put it.
That's priceless. A purposeful irritation. So, and I think the long and short of what Ash is saying is that things will then show up in your life. Some of the hardest decisions that I ever had to make in my life, that I had struggled to make for years on end, I was found the strength to make those decisions and stick with them. And that brought so much peace into my life. Was it easy? You know, it wasn't. I ended a long-term relationship, and I had really, you know, struggled for many years before, having ended the relationship and allowed them to come back. And it just was like this just on and off again thing that was not healthy for either of us, you know. And the beauty was that out of this, I was able to make that happen and to create more peace for myself and for them. And that is beautiful. So, us not being together was really a godsend, though it was one of the scariest, hardest, most challenging things I've ever had to do. And for those who you've been in long-term relationships or have children, or you know, you've partnered with someone, you know that that can be very difficult. But part of that process, me cleansing and healing and releasing, was letting go of anything that no longer served me for the highest and greatest good of all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And in my spiritual activation, I could say walked up these stairs, and maybe we'll just do a fun one on our, we won't belabor it here, but I think we'll do a fun one. But just in a long and short of it, it's like I walked up the stairs, met God, met the council. I didn't know what a council was. But now when you're in this work, you can be like, oh, the council showed up. That's important. So, and then this golden book just flew up and went into my body. And it was like, anything you need to know, you now know. I love you, my daughter. And it was so profound. And I can still visualize and see everything like I was there 3 plus almost 4 years ago, you know? Incredible. Yeah. Just incredible. So that was part of my spiritual activation. And like I said, I know people who were like, yeah, I didn't experience anything. Or I just had old, thoughts of, fights with my mom. But guess what? For them, eventually that was the root of what they needed to heal. And as they were expanding their gifts, they were healing and had more breadth, depth, and capacity to be all who they're meant to be.
Yes.
So cool.
It's so cool. Yeah. Well, I'm interested to know and to help others on this journey too.
Yes.
And to experience more stories like this of expansion and growth and gaining more understanding, because every story is so unique and they're all relevant, wherever we are. It's not about comparing. It's just, it's adding to that experience. It's adding to that expansion to bring back this higher frequency of consciousness, just throughout Gaia, throughout the world.
Right.
So, oh, lovely.
And they are already light beams. So even your light could be this bright. You're just now expanding it. And through this process, you're connecting because you're already a light worker. You may not even know it. But those people that are highly sensitive to feel things so deeply, so profoundly, or you just know things like you don't know how you know them, or you'll just have prophetic dreaming or whatever the small little subtleties, or you can be next to someone and look at them and know that feel their pain, or understand that they're hurting or they're, being sneaky, you're just making that light brighter. And then the lights are all connecting, right? We're uniting light workers to elevate this consciousness, elevate this planet, elevate humanity, embracing the 5D. That's really cool. And it's just so amazing. And if any of you have ever experienced a spiritual activation with us, you can feel free to comment your story on the video. We'd love that. Or on our Facebook pages or any of the Billionaires Triads Facebook group or page. That would be pretty awesome.
Yes.
Fun. And I would say too, as a little caveat, it's better to go beyond the one and done approach. Like, oh, I got one spiritual activation and I'm good. No. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. And it is an amazing start.
It is.
But ideally, as you continue on that journey, you're going to want at least quarterly spiritual activations. That would mean 4 a year. And I say quarterly because it gives yourself enough downtime and recalibration time, of where you are. Sometimes you're going to be so high in your new frequency after an activation that things may be a little crazy in your world trying to bring you back down to that vibration. Other times you may be here and they're like bringing you up here. So it's really going to depend. But I think long and short of it is that don't just choose one spiritual activation and be like, okay, this is enough, because you are an endless being. Your capacity is unparalleled. And the more that you activate your gifts, because you remember too, you said it, Ash, right? That you're going to get what you need at that time. And for the highest and greatest good, you don't want to be inundated or, implode or explode, right? So you get what you need at that time. Release, cleanse your chakras. Maybe sometimes you'll do some shadow work. People are like, oh God, I already did all my shadow work. I don't want to deal with all that. Sometimes you don't even have to deal with it. You can just transition through the energy piece, right? That is the beauty of energy healing too. You don't often have to relive the nightmare. You get to ease your way through it. But it's that process of energy healings, cleansings, and spiritual activations that are really going to help you expand your spiritual gifts. And the world needs you. What if you saved someone's life tomorrow, right? That's what Oliver always told me. Brandy, I need you to embrace your spiritual gifts. Some people are going to change people's lives, but you are going to save them. Can you promise me you will do that? And I used to look at him like, sure. Okay. But it's true. And I know, my pencil stuck in my hair. I know that I have already saved some people's lives. And I'm like, holy cow, this is way bigger than me. My regular human everyday problems are so minute compared to the path that God has laid out for me. And embracing all, right? It's worth it. How about you, Ash? It's worth it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I remember Oliver saying to me, it's not yours. And I'm like, but I'm feeling it. Like I'm a feeler knower, right? So any kind of emotion, it was like I was embodying it and feeling it and knowing it. I wasn't seeing it, thank God. Probably hearing it too. Right. So it took me a while to really just sit with that. He's like, just go and do, a healing, go through a portal and do a healing on your ancestors. And I'm like, what?
You're like, what?
Okay. Like but I knew at that moment that, yes, I need to do this, whatever it looks like. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the steps are, but I'm just going to set an intention for it to fall into place however it's supposed to. And as the steps come to me, they'll come. And, it really changed my life when he told me that. So I think there's moments on this journey that, you just get little pin drops of information from friends, from mentors, from teachers. And they're all just little breadcrumbs from divine, from God, just letting you know, giving you confirmations, that you're on the right path. So yeah, that's what I love you, Oliver. Thank you.
Yes.
You are the one. I've been on this journey for a long time. And not until I started doing energy work and did a spiritual activation that it all started to fall into place. All the teachings of, Kemetic meditation, all of the practices behind Qigong, all of the information that I was receiving, energy work and activation, really got me to just pull it all together and start embodying, just a little shift in your vibration can send you on down a path of just so much clarity and fulfillment and joy. Even though life is happening all around you and it feels like it's caving all in, you still have your space.
55.
You still have
55 minutes and 55 seconds when you just said that. And I hate to interrupt you, but I was like, oh, well, if that's not confirmation with 5 hearts, I'm like, yes, continue, please.
Yes. So, that's just the space we need to occupy, I guess is what I'm saying. Is, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful unfolding when we finally get to embrace, all parts of ourselves, integrate all parts of ourselves, realign with omnipresence, receive omniscience, and then integrate all that into a higher frequency of omnipotence, you know, because we want to use our power, our spiritual power, to uplift ourselves and others. You know, once we start aligning with those laws, there's just three, right? Let's keep it simple. You know, we don't have to go down the rabbit hole, at least not the one behind me anyway. So, yeah, I love this conversation. It's so beautiful. And I think it's a really, really informative on, you know, activations and purpose and, you know, what's life all about? Why are we even here? What are we doing? It's such a beautiful way to start really figuring that out, you know. And like you said, this journey starts with one activation. You're expanded, your cells remember that expansion. So, you know, you retract because life starts to happen again. And like you said, pull you back down into that lower frequency. But your cells remember that expanded state. Trust me.
Yes.
And you're going to want to get back there. Right. So it's only a matter of time until the work starts to pull you back in. And then you have another expansion and you're expanded even greater. And it's just this continuous expansion, retraction, expansion to just bigger and bigger if you choose to. Right? I mean, free will. Free will is an important thing. Personal responsibility.
Yes, free will. We all have will. I love that you said that because I just read something or watched a video today about, you know, it takes 45 days for your DNA to change. 45 days for your for your DNA to change. And what's going to happen is with those patterns or habits or recalibration, new frequencies, the shift, the expansion, the re-remembering, that allows your body to stamp it or imprint it in your DNA, right? So that's why the whole at least once a quarter, that gives you 45 days and 45 days of just allowing it to interweave and interject and solidify. And then you're on to the next expansion. You know, I know some of us, we like things fast. We like them now. We want them yesterday. Ashley and I give it to us 1,000%. We want to do it now. We want to know about it now. We want to have embodied it now. We want to just, yeah, well, the universe was like, no, thought you had a friend.
Yeah, I mean, there's some special lessons around that, having that kind of energy, bringing that frequency of instant gratification. And I think we all have it because, you know, I mean, today's society really instills that within us when we're young. But yeah, all of that, Brandy, all of that.
So yes, anything else we should say about spiritual activations that maybe we missed, or just, you know, maybe wrapping up, closing sentiments?
Yeah, does anybody have any questions? Drop them, you know, in the comments. If you don't catch us live, we'll be sure to come back and check your questions out and maybe do another live around your question. So
yeah,
share this video with those that you know, may think will benefit from it. I think really we're trying to just share more authentically, you know, what our mission is to just gather, you know, like-minded souls, light workers, highly sensitive persons, and, you know, just expand together on this journey to wholeness. We're building a community. We're just in the beginning stages. So if you want to be a pioneering member, right, just check out thebillionairestriad.com, and then check out our app that we're building. So we're just looking forward to so much expansion in service, and, you know, just putting everything together on the back end for, you know, a smooth experience. We want to provide, you know, just that community of comprehensive support for one another. practical solutions to issues, because we're all in this together. I think the billionaires triad really encompasses not, that billionaire money mindset. It's just, the whole planet. There's billions of us, and all of us have the capability to love, to really, use our hearts to connect. And I think we just want to take that back, right? And really spread it across the world, because we are, billionaires in our hearts. Our energy is immense. It just permeates through everything. So the more we connect, the more we can expand, the more we can raise, humanity's consciousness. Yeah. So join us if you feel
Yes.
called. So excited. Oh, I can't keep it in.
So we have a question from Sarah Marie. And the question says, I've had a spiritual activations done before. Not sure if it's just my physical not being ready, but I consciously didn't notice change. How can I work to change that?
Great question. Great question. And I think with every spiritual activation, there's something that happens. And I mean, sometimes we're just not aware of it. Energy works on so many different levels, especially in the subconscious, and through things matter, right? So I think I've had an activation like that where I've only just had maybe a headache the next day. And I didn't feel like it really did anything. And not until I came back to the next activation that I had like an actual like experience vision. So I think every activation is different. And it gives you exactly what you need at that time. Sometimes I tell my clients that, if you don't experience anything, it's like divine giving you like anesthesia during a surgery. It's like just you're knocked out, right? Because your vessel might not be at a point to really understand what's going on. And as you revisit and come back to it, you'll see that over time you've you've grown, maybe not the way that you expected it to be, or you had in your mind, but there has been some kind of incremental growth, right? You've understood things a little bit differently, or you take a different perspective on something. There's usually something there that has changed on a fundamental level. But I do, and I'm sure Brandy does too, to just continue to encourage activating and diving deeper into your growth, right? Maybe it was just the practitioner, you need to find somebody else that resonates with you. It could be a whole host of things. So love yourself through it, give yourself space to continue to expand, right? Just being interested in this kind of work means that you are on your path, on your journey to wholeness. And just because you didn't have an experience that truly moved you doesn't mean, that there's not more things to explore for you. So thank you for your question, because it's, sometimes we get disappointed, right, Brandy?
Yes. Yeah. Again, I think Ashley and I both love the bells and whistles, and because of she's a sociologist, I'm a sociologist, our scientific brains, like we want something to like punch us in the face, like, oh, is this real, or is this working, or you know what I mean? So I can say there has been times that I'm just like, womp womp womp. I don't know if that really worked for me.
Yeah.
But what I have found, I think, hindsight, they say, is 2020, is that was probably just preparing me for what was next, and for my next level of expansion and growth. And two, so it's kind of like all right, people are probably going to hate me for this. I've never watched all the Harry Potter movies or whatever. So I'm sorry about that. I don't watch a lot of TV. My sister Chelsea's watched them all, but you're not going to come to magic school with us, and just come out swinging like, point your finger and, you know what I mean? That your gifts are going to be like, pew, 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 pew. It doesn't mean that cannot happen for you. But in essence, that's not the typical experience or reality. So, some people, you may just become a little bit more empathic. You may just be able to tap into your higher self a little easier. And because, so that is something that Ashley and I both do. We're able to tap into your higher self and see them or know them and name them and help you kind of expand to connect to them. Or you could have a few of them or a plethora of higher selves. So you may or may not receive that in that experience, or the next time it may be more expensive for you. And now you're ready to tap into your higher self because you released maybe some baggage, maybe some limiting beliefs even, Molly, come here. Sorry,
Yeah.
you're doing circles in the room. So, I think that's the long and short of it. I don't think necessarily there's anything that you can do to change it. What I would say too is, as Ashley alluded to, is sometimes you and the practitioner may be on a different energetic frequency. Your vibration may be a little bit higher than that practitioner.
So cute.
This is Rosie, guys. So your vibration could be possibly in its current state a little higher than the practitioner, and maybe that's why it didn't resonate or serve you the way that you wanted to. And and it's nothing wrong or bad. It's just kind of where you are and where you're at. So I would again just solidify and concur what Ashley said. Like, you are on your path. You are connected here with us, for a reason. And even if you feel like they didn't work in some way, they probably served you. And just, have faith. Keep moving forward. You're going to find what it is you're looking for. There's no wrong path. All paths lead to home. And I divinely channeled that when I was at the Heartland in the Labyrinth. So I can say that to you today with a whole heart. All paths lead to home.
Yeah, I mean, I had a client once, we did a few healings kind of back to back. And it wasn't until the third healing, that's when I really felt her energy body open up. Because I think on some levels, we do have a little bit of resistance and we just don't know. We just don't know that we have it. I just wanted to use that as an example that I have had, a client that, at first it was like, but then she was committed to the process, right? And by her third healing, she was like, yeah, and I was like, I was too. I was like, you really allowed me to release a lot of things because you were ready. You were ready. You felt you went through a session. You knew what to expect. You trust. There was a trust there now that I know this person. I've had interaction with them. So things were able to move exponentially to where like she doesn't have any pain anymore. She was dealing with some pain and just those few healings. So yeah, it's all working for us, for you.
Ash, you have a really great point that I don't think I thought about until right this moment.
Hey.
In between our pre-activation and our first spiritual activation, we had done a lot of healing, a lot of self-healing, and a lot of practicing with upcoming healers. So what I am kind of, I think, is like, oh, there was a lot of healing that we had to do along the way in order to really be ready for the type of spiritual activations that we received. That's why when Ashley says, you did 3 healing sessions, the first one wasn't really, it was like, the second one was like, okay. And by the third it was like, oh, we're making progress. So yeah, sometimes do we try to work miracles? Absolutely. And sometimes do we? Absolutely. But other times it may feel like it's nothing. And it's trusting that however it's working for you, it's still working. I keep in mind the auric photos. Even if you can't see it, it's working. So a lot of the healing, if there's something that you want to do to change and expand your spiritual activation experience, I would say is really start furthering your healing journey in whatever modality that works for you. Clearly, we do, we are not Reiki practitioners, we are energy healers as well, but we use sacred geometry and unconditional love. Sacred geometry is the language of God, and that's our healing modalities, along with some other ones that we've brought in and created along with our diamond codes and key pillars. So that would be the answer. That is what you can do. Really expand your healing, even if it's yoga, even if it's sound healing, even if it's listening to some of our meditations on our YouTube or in our app. Really and we imprint them and stamp them so that way they're just as potent and you can listen to them and expand. And sometimes it's specific for each chakra. So yes, heal, 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 heal as much as you possibly can. Receive as many healings as you possibly can. Learn to be a healer. Then you can heal with one another.
Yeah, I think that receive thing is huge. Setting the intention to receive, surrender, it brings up stuff, but then that stuff is able to dissolve. It's able to just, like that steam analogy, just lift up off of you because you're in an expanded state. So I know it sounds counterintuitive because it's like whenever something feels uncomfortable, we want to run, But if we can sit with that, there is so much on the other side. I mean, you when you dig for gold, you got to go through the dirt.
Mm-hmm.
It's valuable, right? So if you look at that gold, visualize that as your higher self, as your expanded self, as your, more abundant self, then you're gonna go through that dirt. You're gonna like, all right, I'll get my hands dirty. Let's do this. Because you see the value, So I think that's really important to remember. I mean, you're not getting, how do I want to say that? You're just, I don't know how I want to say that. Maybe that's for another video. That's divine telling me to slow down.
Yeah. So Sarah, I hope that served you and helped you. And, I think even for us, like there's certain things that'll just be like, oh, with understanding how much healing we had experienced in the middle of these spiritual activations. So trusting that they shouldn't be done in isolation. Not shouldn't, but because should is a stupid word, then you should all over yourself, right? It's more, it would serve you better if you worked on healing and releasing and shifting and all of those beautiful things. It'll make your spiritual activations that much more profound for you and to touch your body, spirit, soul, and mind deeper. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Sarah.
Yeah. And I love that you said, Ash, if they add questions later on, we'll come back to them and respond to them, or maybe we'll do a video about it. And definitely if you guys watch this now, or you're on the live, or you come back and watch it, feel free to let us know if you want us to do another video on our activation stories. because those are fun.
Mhm.
So if you think you'd enjoy it and it'll serve you, let us know. And again, feel free to really share this with other people, share with people who need it, because you never know. It just may be what they need to help start their healing journey, lean into their purpose work, and find their mission in life.
Mm.
You guys are so, so powerful. And we really just want to help you find your power and use it for the highest and greatest good.
Mm. Cheers on our journeys to wholeness,
Yes.
because it's all connected. And
we
we're
are
all connected.
Mhm. All right, guys. Love you unconditionally. Thank you so, so much. Rosie, can I put you down now so I can end the video?
Lucy.
Say bye to everybody. I know, you're so spoiled. All right, love you guys. So our website is thebillionairestriad.com. If you want to access our app, you can go to our website and sign up. We have a awesome quiz that you can take there to find out your diamond code key pillar, which is awesome to understand your foundational element and archetype in the world. And eventually it will be on Apple and Google Play. So we're working on that now, you know, the fun back end stuff. We have our YouTube channel. We are solidifying, getting our podcast going. So thank you guys for being on our journey. Please message us. Let us know anything you're curious about. You want to know, what should we make videos about? What should we talk about? What should we elaborate on? You know, we are here to serve you. And any way we can do that better, we are so open to that. All right. Love you guys. I love you, Ashley, so much. Thank you for being my soul sister and making me feel so not alone and an ounce of normalcy. Woohoo.
Ditto. Ditto. Love you.
Love you. Bye, guys.